Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the gorgeous Cambridgeshire countryside. I'm on the very southern edge of Cambridgeshire here at the moment, on the edge of the village of Bartlow, and I've actually already explored the gorgeous Grade 1 listed Church of St Mary. Now this church actually dates back to the 12th century. I think the tower itself is probably the oldest element that's still standing, and that is 12th century. And there is an amazing 14th or 15th century south doorway which has been blocked up but has some amazing carvings. And I believe that this church is also only one of 2 round tower churches in the whole of Cambridgeshire. So I'm here to complete a walk of about 7.5 kilometres, and it leaves Bartlow and heads across the fields and country lanes over towards Hadstock, so it's the neighbouring village just about 1.5 miles or so further up. And it's there that I'm going to explore probably one of the most historic buildings in the area. It is a Saxon church. And then once I've explored that, I'm going to head back over towards Bartlow and then explore something even older, the Roman Burial Mounds of Bartlow Hills. So this rich historic building here is the Church of St Botolph in Hadstock, and it's a Grade 1 listed building. But what's really incredible about this is that the entirety of the nave and the north transept, so the bit just next to the entrance here, is of late Anglo-Saxon date, and there is evidence to suggest that this was the Minster Church that was built by Cnut after the Battle of Ascent in 1016, and it was also built on the site of an earlier Saxon church. Now let's have a look at some of the features. The nave has 4 original early 11th century double-splayed windows intact. The north door is early 11th century but was rebuilt in its present position later on in the 11th century. The west door is also probably of similar date. The south doorway was inserted around 1200 and is now blocked. The south transept was added much later in the 14th century, and then the west tower was built in the 15th century. So I've just entered the arable field alongside the church, and back in 2005 they actually completed an archaeological survey and excavation here to see whether or not any of the earthworks in the field just alongside or in this one were actually associated with the Anglo-Saxon monastery. Now sadly they didn't find any direct evidence of that, but there was one small piece of Middle Saxon pottery that was found that dates to sort of the 7th to 9th century, so it suggests they were in the area at the time. But actually a lot of the earthworks were associated with post-medieval activity, but they did also find I think about 100 sherds of Roman pottery, and including a couple of Roman ditches, so the Romans apparently were farming in this area at the time. So I'm nearing Bartlow already, and I've just passed under what would have been the line of the old railway, which would have gone all the way to Cambridge in that direction, and then if you kept going in that way for about 20 miles you'd probably arrive about Sudbury. It would follow the entire Stour Valley. But very soon I'm going to be exploring the incredible Roman burial mounds. So I've now arrived here at Bartlow Hills, and this is a Roman cemetery, and it contained 7 burial mounds. Now you can see this is the southernmost here, and it stands probably about 10 metres high, but the one I'm on is the tallest, and it's the one you actually have access onto. There is a little stepped ladder all the way up, and this one stands about 15 metres high, so nearly 50 feet. And the view from up here, if the trees were a bit lower, would be absolutely outstanding. There is another burial mound down to the north, and there's another one which is over in private land. But the sad thing is that, you know, I spoke about the railway line earlier. Well, the route of that railway line went straight through the middle of this Barrow cemetery and actually destroyed several of the burial mounds in the process, which, you know, in today's day and age would never happen. They'd have to reroute round. And another really sad point is that these burial mounds were excavated in the early 1800s, and this one is recorded to have just provided work for those who were unemployed, and then when they found all of the riches inside, they were just handed out to anyone, and no one actually knows for sure what was found in there, and nothing that was found exists anymore. And further excavations were taken place later on and actually recorded properly, but another twist of fate had them all destroyed in a fire in the mid-1800s. But this place here is absolutely incredible. This is the largest Roman burial mound north of the Alps, and I believe this is the largest Barrow cemetery in Britain as well. So what I am going to do now is head back down this burial mound and follow a footpath just across the field over there towards the church in Bartlow. If you have enjoyed this walk, please hit like, hit subscribe and also ring the bell to keep up to date with future uploads, and I'll see you next time.